I would love to come back a little bit to your music and you as an artist, and a little bit as well to talk about what is the kind of vision and stuff that you have with your art, with the music that you create. I think there is a very strong message and meaning as well in your latest video and music to that. So is that what is the general direction that you as an artist are following with your art, if there
Um,
is one?
I because I it's always hard for me to answer this question because I feel
Mm,
like I'm just at the start. I have a lot to say in many different ways.
mm,
I'm not really sure yet what the direction is of the
mm,
vision of the art because there's just so much. There's so many
yeah.
experiences that I want to share. Um, but one thing that I always try to transcend through music, especially through concerts with people, is that this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just for me. This is for you. Um, I always try to open up with a bit of improvisation that reflects how I feel about the room around me, about the people and the vibes. Try and
Mm-hmm.
capture that moment.
Yeah.
Um, and I also try to compose in the languages that I know. So I compose in French, English, Spanish, and try to bring out a different character of myself each time because there is a
Mm,
lot. Um, I, I I mean I am part Spanish. I'm also part Korean, and I grew up in a French speaking country. And because of that, I think that my vision
mm,
cannot be so sharp
yeah.
I,
I understand. That makes sense.
because it's the world
Mm,
that I come from. So it's the
yeah.
world that I speak to in a way.
But it's a nice reflection of all your background. So I think that's beautiful. And what you just said about, okay, as a priority, somewhat to make it for your audience, really.
Mhm.
Um, that's beautiful. And I do get the impression, really, as well, from how you talk and how you communicate, that okay, you really have things to say, and there is things you want to share, and there is a lot of energy that wants to come out in a way and be shared.
Mhm.
And okay, the direction where that will flow is fluid in a way and will find its path as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that's actually that makes me that can actually help me maybe sharpen um
Mm,
my vision a little bit more. It's just in concerts and in yeah, usually when I play live, what I really enjoy and what I strive for is continuity. This idea,
yeah.
kind of like a constantly moving train. Like you'd never really there's not much time to stop and,
Mhm.
breathe. The aim would be to I mean, I've been performing solo for the past um for quite some time, but eventually when I get a band, the idea would be to really just consistently
Mm,
continue without stopping from beginning to end and really make it
yeah.
feel like a journey from start to end. Um that's the vision that I have for myself, this continuity in the sounds that I try to
Mm.
create.
That reminds me of an artist that I am listening to quite a bit. I don't know if you know her, Amanda Palmer.
Hmm.
Um,
You'll have to send that to me.
she's going a little bit the strange route, let's say. She used to be with a record label, but had some troubles and things, and then managed to crowdfund her next album completely.
Wow.
And then, as that was a big success, is now being able to finance all her work and recordings and everything through her Patreon, actually. And she has a lot of supporters there, and she's managing to produce her music and her work pretty much completely independent. And she can do whatever the fuck she wants. And
That's
that is
fantastic.
amazing, first of all. And in her music, what I found interesting, her latest album that she brought out was very much in the direction of what you described. She, like normally in an album, okay, there is a bit of a path, there is some more sad stuff, there's some happy stuff and things, and you guide it around, but it's a somewhat unspoken, fixed narrative structure almost. And she said, no, fuck that. and she created an album of, and it's called There Will Be No Intermission, and it's really okay, like an hour or an hour and a half, I'm not sure right now, of one sad song after the other, and you still take this crazy journey, and you really go deep, and
Wow.
it's amazing, and you really dive into this, and because it's really you get to completely new places. Then okay, now I need something sad, and now I need something happy again. No, just okay, let's go there, and let's go deep, and let's follow through with it. And in the end, it's, for me at least, it was still, I came out of, after I listened to the album the first time, okay, I worked through a lot, so with myself and my emotions and things, but in the end, when I came out, I was not sad. No, I come out with, I've gone through something, and here's the end.
Wow.
So that was a beautiful experience for me there, and made me connect much more with that album as a whole thing as well, compared to other artists. And that was really interesting for me. And what you just said just reminded me of this continuity that you were talking about, that you're looking for.
Wow, fantastic. Hey, you'll have to send that to me.
I will send it to you.
Great.
Nice. So
Wow.
that's something really interesting for me as well. Okay, I mean, I'm not musical myself, but of course I consume music as well, and I like to consume music.
Sure.
So it's really interesting for me when I get aware of those somewhat hidden structures that are there. Okay, almost all songs are like 3 to 5 minutes. Who made that rule, and why is that rule there, and can't we break it?
Spotify.
No, actually, before that, not only Spotify.
No, I know. Yeah.
With
That's
the coming up of radio and those things, there, it has a lot to do with that as well, and with the physical size of the storage medium where you could store music on. It is connected to that. It goes back to then. Because before, when you were not recording music, you had a lot of time. It was made to be enjoyed live, and you have those amazing long hour-long concerts that nowadays you have recordings of. But back in the days, if you wanted to record a song, okay, there is a physical medium that you have to get all that information on, and that is a limited size. I'm connected to that, and it was super interesting for me when I was first discovering that and listening to podcasts and people talking about it. And as we don't have this limitation anymore, as okay, right now we have unlimited storage capabilities essentially, but those unwritten rules are still existent, and I'm super curious seeing some artists starting to break those things and experiment in very different ways. And it's super interesting to me to observe that.
Interesting, yeah. I'm trying to think about different mediums in which that would be. Like if you picked up a book at a store, it would be a bit strange to find one that's less than 100 pages, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends on the kind of book. Like there is a lot of written things shorter. I mean, look at Twitter, where you're limited to a certain amount of characters. But
I guess that you could say the same thing for Reels and TikTok and everything like that.
Yeah,
when you look at
definitely.
Might be.
And it's an interesting reflection of society in a way. Okay, what are the mediums that we go for? And how does it reflect in the mediums that we use and develop and come up with as well?
How our attention span gets shorter and shorter. Is it because of the medium itself, or is it because of us that we're trying to find something shorter and more concise?
Maybe. I don't know. Something to play around with and experiment, I think.
That's true.
But
That's a very
that
good
is
thought.
exactly a point where I feel like, okay, when you talk about making music, you mainly talked about concerts right now and life as a shared physical experience as well, which is a complete different thing than, okay, I go to Spotify and I put on a playlist. My experience will be completely different. But is it possible to create a similar listening experience, at least, that you would make at a concert in such other medium?
Oh, the last part of that question kind of confused me. Can you repeat it, please? I thought
Like,
I had it, and
okay.
then I was like, no.
Like, is there a way to translate what you are doing in concerts, where you have the physical presence of you as the musician and your audience? What is the translation of this experience into a different medium, like Spotify, for example?
So something that you would actually listen to at home on your headphones by
Yeah, for
yourself.
example, I mean, you can talk about, if you pick a topic, you use photography to display it in one way, then you can use video to display the same topic in another way, or you can write a poem and talk about this topic. So it's still the same thing that you're doing, but using different mediums.
I see.
And how would that be concerning that experience that a live concert is? I'm not sure if you can translate it one to one, for sure not. But to
Yeah,
move in that direction, I don't know.
that's a very interesting and convoluted question you are asking me. It's funny that you mentioned poetry. I have been challenging myself to write poems more or less every day for the past several weeks. And sometimes I ask some friends to read them aloud. I challenge them to write poems as well, and we
Yeah,
just read them
nice.
aloud together. And this kind of performance reminds me a little bit of a musical performance, in that there's this mutual respect for what you're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
There's this there's this shared respect and silence that you transcend through silence. And I guess that that would be the closest thing that I feel to being representative of how I feel when I perform live, because it is still art. It's
Yeah,
performed form
definitely.
of art.
That's interesting.
Mm.
I was faced with kind of this question myself lately. I was um, towards the beginning of lockdown, I premiered a performance I created in Italy, and in my artistic work, I'm very much busy with the relationship between performer and audience, and always trying to challenge that relationship and turn it around and make the audience into a performer through one way or the other. There's many beautiful ways, but in a way that they're still having their choice. So it's not just, hey, I need somebody to come on stage and hold something for me or whatsoever. Not in that style, no, because in that moment the person is not a person anymore, it's an object, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for actual performers taking decisions on their own in the audience, in that sense. And we filmed that performance, obviously, and that video is a documentation of that evening, essentially, of this live performance. But now then I was questioning myself, okay, how can I turn this video into its own performance that is communicating the same thing as what I was communicating live there on stage? So that video is being looked at through a screen, and my audience is not the people in the theater anymore, but the person in front of this screen. So how do I communicate to that person the same values and the same ideas and topics without me being physically present in front of him, but just recorded on a screen? And switching things over, and I was trying, and I made something. If it works or not, I have no clue. But that research question was interesting to me, and it's still interesting actually now, especially in these times of COVID, where this physical encounter is a lot more difficult, and we are kind of, everything moves online. But then I'm very disappointed always myself when I see, okay, I'm not watching a performance, I'm watching a documentation of a performance, and that's something entirely different. The same is when I'm watching videos of live concerts. You're not there, and sometimes it's actually the opposite of satisfying, because I see other people that are there, and I feel what I'm missing out at because I have a memory of actual live concerts.
Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting, that's a really pertinent question as well to ask yourself in this time, because
Yeah.
it calls, like, these times really call for a different type of creativity, because, like you said, you can't interact
Mm.
with your audience physically anymore. And I mean, I guess that's something that a lot of artists were asking themselves. Okay, how can we make streamed concerts
Yeah.
interesting, or how can we interact with people? And I found there was this one particular band that really flipped the table, kind of like you said, that now you're going to be the one who plays around. And um, they just uploaded all the stems to their songs, all of the
Okay.
stems, for them to download, and said, you play around with them, you download them, mix them how you want,
Yeah.
add what you want, remove what you want, and see and see what comes up with that. And that's a fantastic way of being able to interact with people and just see, you
Yeah.
know, you have to really trust yourself, um,
Mm-hmm.
to let go of control of your work, like something that really you worked on for so long, and see it either be completely disintegrated or be transformed into something that you never could have done. And let that expectation aside and just be able to appreciate something new that came from the parts of your work. So yeah, I think that um, there's a lot of good things out there, if you're willing to just allow yourself to open
Yeah.
yourself up to those possibilities.
Yeah. I agree. It's an interesting time. See it
That's
forced, but
interesting is the theme
what
of
we
the
make out
year,
of it
yeah.
is what matters in the end, I think. And the decisions and ideas we come up with and realize as well. This was the second part of my conversation with Natyva. In part 3, we will be talking about her creative process, as well as asking the question of when an artwork is actually finished. Furthermore, we will be talking about thoughts, imaginations, and memories in regards to being on stage. If you liked this video, then please click like and subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. A big thank you goes out to all of our supporters on Patreon. If you also want to support the work that we do here at Capta laVie and secure yourself some extra benefits, then head over to patreon.com/captalavie. See you in the next part with Natyva.